Welcome. I am extremely excited today to sit down with Christine Hutter, CEO of Moritz Grossman, who came all this way to Scottsdale, Arizona from Germany, so thank you. I'm also a watchmaker and one of the few females leading in a watch company or in a watch type role, which is very exciting, which we're going to talk about today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for your invitation. It's a pleasure for us to be here.
Yes, exciting. So let's start with you and your background in the watch world. How did you first get introduced to watches?
That's a long story because I haven't been involved with my family in watches.
Okay.
But friends of mine, the father was a watchmaker, and I wanted to study sport.
Okay.
And I was a little bit connected with art and also goldsmith work. And suddenly he said, "Hey, Christine, do you like watchmaking? And have a look." And yeah, that was, I did the decision. And I got trained as a watchmaker, and then I started really from scratch.
Okay.
Like we started with Moritz Grossman.
Yeah.
And from year to year, I really liked the real work. I did a lot of restoration of old watches, pendulum clocks, and yes, my heart fell into the watches.
I think that's very unique that sets you apart too, is the watchmaking background before you got into the management or the running of a company. But kind of going back to your start, do you remember the first watch that you ever had?
Yeah, it was a watch which I got from my mother, a very small one, mechanical piece. Mm-hmm. No quartz movement, and I was very proud that I could wear it, a golden one. But today, it's for me, I like more bigger size.
Yeah.
And but I still have it.
You still have it. So I know the sentimental value is important there. So you got into the watchmaking world. What attracted you to Moritz Grossman and the history of the brand?
That was during the time I did different steps in my life, and in '96 I came up to Glashütte, and. At the beginning, I worked with Glashütte Original. Mm-hmm. After I moved to Lange und Söhne, and I've been responsible for the operational marketing worldwide for Lange. Okay. And during this time, I was connected with the German watchmaking, the Glashütte, special the Glashütte history. And then I recognized the name Moritz Grossman, because if you go back, so Glashütte was really the mecca of watchmaking in the 19th century. Okay. And Moritz Grossman was one of the 4 most eminent watchmakers. And still today, if you come there and see the German Watch Museum, so you see everywhere Moritz Grossman. Mm-hmm. And then the idea came up to protect the name rights. And but I left. I went to Switzerland, and I went back to retail business. And afterwards, we got the letter that we own the brand rights. Exciting. And it was still like a dream in my mind, but it was more in the background. And after we got the brand rights, it was clear, a vision in front of me. I have to go back, and we have to do something with the name, and really in the highest level of craftsmanship. And that was the reason that I went back in 2008, and we established in November the Grossman Uhren GmbH.
Exciting. What inspired you to move from the watchmaking side of things to kind of relaunching this brand?
I think more or less everything what I have done, my heart is still with the watchmaking. I'm a watchmaker as well, but I worked more in marketing, in distribution, sales promotion, and I had the chance as well to work worldwide, to see different markets, Asia, America, US market, Middle East market, and I think at least everything what I have done before is now completed as we started with Moritz Grossman. And for me today it's nice because also we set up a production from scratch. Mm-hmm. And we produce 90% of the movement in-house. We have our own hands production, and now in the last years we started also to produce dials in-house, like our silver friction plated dials, as well tremplage dials. And I think it's everything comes together, and we would like really to show Moritz Grossman as a real manufacturer in the best way.
Explain to our audience in the watchmaking history in Germany and a little bit about the culture for maybe someone who's only familiar with Swiss watchmaking. What sets the German watchmaking world apart?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, the German watchmaking, because if you look to our construction of the movement, we do not work with all the bridges like the Swiss one. So the German watchmaking was more compact and more stable, more looking for functionality. And if you go back and see the old pocket watches in German watchmaking, so we also try to take the heritage of the pocket watches of Moritz Grossman and to transfer them into the wrist watches nowadays. And it's a little bit different. Swiss watchmaking was going the last 30 years, 40, 50 years through. In German, we had really a high standard in the 19th century. And in 1950, so as the Russian came in and Germany was divided, so it was like broken, and we had a long time, the watchmaking didn't exist anymore. And after the reunification, we started again with the watchmaking, and it took time, step by step, to come up. But today, I think the name Glashütte is important worldwide again, and it shows you also high quality, and that the German watchmaking is also installed in the world business today, but it's different. It's we are working from movement side a little bit different than the Swiss one.
Talk about your experience being a female leader in the watch world. There aren't a lot of women in the space. What has been your kind of experience, maybe positive and negative issues that you've run into being a woman leader of Moritz Grossman?
I hear it all the time, and I know there were some female CEOs in the watch business, and but I think there is nobody who really installed or started from scratch with a manufactory to set up a manufactory as a female person. And I'm a bit proud of that we could do it. But it's different. I think you work perhaps as a female person more with, you're more sensible, you look in a little bit different ways, but at least it's the same work what I have to do as I'm a male person. And sometimes it's funny if you go somewhere and you have meetings, you have a lot of men around, and sometimes there is only one woman, that's me, but you get used to it. So it is how it is, and I focus more on our company, on our work, and so we are working in a very good way together with the whole team, and that's fine.
How many people work at Moritz Grossman currently?
At the moment we are 52 persons.
Okay.
And it's the most are working in the production. So the administration team is really small. But we also have a lot of female watchmaker inside. So I think it's half and half, really, male and female.
That's amazing and very inspiring. I'm sure you have a lot to do.
And a lot of young people, that's also great.
That's also great. Going back a little bit to the history of Moritz Grossman and the pocket watches, how do you bring that into the watches today to honor that history and that inspiration?
Yeah, it's as we started to create the first movement, we really looked how the pocket watch of Moritz Grossman was constructed. And we thought some parts we have to take out. If you look here at the movement, we have a 2/3 plate. So in Glashütte you use more a 3/4 plate. And it also shows you the two lines and the cutout. It's what we use in our logo. And we wanted really to show the Moritz Grossman heritage. So we decided to use no rubies, white sapphires. Then it's all hand engraved, so also the plate is hand engraved at Moritz Grossman. We use the gold chateaus, which also the high quality of pocket watches. So you have different steps, A, B, and C. So the 1A quality of the pocket watches in Glashütte, they used also the gold chateaus. But And then we went back to the regulation system with the micrometer screw of Moritz Grossman. He used it as well in the pocket watches. And then we really made the step in the balance cock. And this he has done if he made an anchor chronometer in the pocket watches. So there are a lot of aspects. And at least it was, for me, it was very important that we work with the highest finish and the traditional hand finish, no machine finish.
Yeah.
And that's, we need a long time to do all this work.
Yes.
But I think at least you can see it.
It's gorgeous.
It's different if you compare it.
It's like
with
a piece
other
of art.
movements. Yes,
Even
it's
from
very
here.
special. And what we started now as well is where we go back, like our tremblage style, it's made from a solid plate. So the numbers are not applied, they are really from one plate. We cut it out and then we go one layer down, and our engraver really works 4 days to make all the tremblage work by hand. And it's crazy if you look really to the details, but it's the highest craftsmanship, and also it's a part, this kind of engraving is a part which goes again back to the history of the 19th century. On the dial, so it's a work that these people need around 6 to 8 hours for 3 hands.
Wow.
So you can imagine, it's...
I can't even imagine the training.
It's more or less one day what we need for the 3 hands of a watch.
Beautiful.
It's really incredible. Okay, we brought another piece, and that's very special. As we decided to do our first automatic movement, we were really thinking, what should we do with a rotor, with a micro rotor? And then we thought, no, always we follow the philosophy of Moritz Grossman, and he wrote a book in 1880, and the title was The Construction of a Simple but Mechanical Perfect Watch.
Wow.
So with the automatic system, then we thought, what could we do? And we went back as well to the 19th century. And already Breguet, he started in the pocket watches with a kind of hammer system. And but it worked only on one side, and it was not really working. And then we thought, okay, let's take this kind of development and go on to the 21st century. So at least our Hamatic came out, and that's a very special movement because we made a very slim hammer system with a click system inside and a reduction gearing which works on both sides. The hammer can move, it's not swinging, the hammer moves if you really move your arm, and it moves 28 degrees, and only if he's going like 2 millimeters we have the connection to the spring barrel, and you can wind the watch. So it's a special system, I think one of the most beautiful movements, and it's completely free because you can have a look inside of the whole movement, and you see all the finish work and everything.
Smart.
So it's very special. And what we did, what we brought here, it's our Hamatic cream. It's in white gold, a limited edition, where we produce only 25 pieces.
Wow.
And the numbers are all in violet, as well our hands are in violet.
I love that color combination
so it's,
too.
it's a very nice combination.
Yeah, but you almost want to wear the watch upside down so you can see the movement.
That was the reason why we created our back page, what I'm wearing, because a friend of mine said, Christine, the value of your watch is the movement and not the gold case.
Right.
So, but mostly I have a dial on the hands in front where I'm looking. I never see the movement.
Sure.
And then we decided to switch the movement, to put the hands from the backside out, and then we opened the dial, and then you could really see into the movement. And the best was on the backside, you see our pusher system, which is very special, and also the second stop. So it's sometimes we are creative, innovative, and we think different.
Right. I appreciate that, and appreciate that friend of yours. That was a good idea. So what is the future of Moritz Grossman to you? What are you looking to accomplish ahead?
Okay, today we are like 52 persons, and we produce perhaps this year around 350 pieces, so it's not a lot. And we would like to increase that later on, perhaps in 5-6 years, we can produce 800 to maximum 1,000 pieces.
Wow.
We did a construction of our own manufactory building, so we still have free space inside, and we can keep 100 to 120 persons or employees inside, and our target is really to increase and to keep the real manufactory with the highest standard of finishing and craftsmanship, and not to look for quantity, to keep really our quality of the watches, and but we have to increase a little bit, but maximum 2,000 pieces.
Of course,
a year.
of course. Exciting. Well, we can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Step by step, we are working on it.
Yes, well, we're excited and we're rooting for you. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
I thank you.